the question that I have for you is, what questions do you have for me?
So I'm gonna break the the rule, and I have them written down.
As you
Even
should.
though you're not supposed to like look down, I did my research. Here
No,
I am looking
absolutely.
down.
As you should. Yes.
So I guess I have like 5 questions I'm hoping to get answered today.
Okay.
So the first is also would love to hear about your journey at some point, but I
Sure.
don't know if we should do questions or that first.
Um, well, as far as my journey as to becoming a consultant, the main thing that I would share when it comes to that is, in my opinion, the journey started actually in college, and but I didn't realize that. And what I mean by that is, in college, I was a communications major, and so I had developed the ability, the skill set to, for one, communicate. I took a public speaking class then. I was also getting into public relations and also editing video and different things, graphic design, different things like that. So I wasn't great at those things, but I was good enough. I was serviceable. And so, and the one thing I always wanted, also when I was in college, I through like student organizations, I would like throw events on the campus, fundraisers, talent shows, different things like that. So I had the experience in being able to do those things, working with budgets and stuff like that. So what I wanted to be when I got out of college was an event planner. I wanted to be someone who worked. I even worked at this place as in my internship called the Pontchartrain Center, was a convention center in Kenner, Louisiana, just a suburb of New Orleans. And so that was the direction I really wanted to go in with a lot of different things. And so then got out of school, really couldn't find work. And so my mom was a teacher. She said, get an education. I gave it a shot, got in and started working, loved it. Didn't really feel like working with kids. I know when I say that people think it's weird, but it really at that point in time, I think the part that sometimes people don't realize with where I was at that point was I didn't have work consistently for 2 years. Coming in making 39,000 at that point was a dream, and I'm like, I get to make 39,000 to work with kids. Like I remember thinking that I was at field day. Like the principal asked me to go out and help out with field day, and I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and we're out there throwing footballs. And I'm like, man, I'm getting paid to do this. I was at a young. That was my mindset at that particular age, right? So obviously now I'm not going to think about it like that, but that's how I was seeing things. So
Hmm.
I had an appreciation always from the beginning for it. So I stayed in it as a career. I made that decision, but I always was doing like little businesses on the side, like trying to do different things. I had started a business back then, and so, but none of them were successful. Like it was just, but I was learning how to do business. And so when it came down to now, I'm matriculating through my career, and I'm getting into becoming an assistant principal, getting into restorative practices, and all those different things. When it came, like, so one thing that I haven't talked about with anybody yet was one thing when I was a principal that happened was, let me go back to this. When I was an assistant principal, we worked with a particular consultant, another school district worked with that consultant, which was a larger school district. So we were kind of a triangle of like, I worked like me and that district, we were kind of like partners, but at the same time, we were partnering with this particular consultant. I ended up going and working with that consultant initially when I first got into consulting. Now, but what ended up happening before that is when I was a principal, I just kind of was like, all right, I need something as a hobby to do when I get off of, like, when I'm not at work. I need something to, as you said, the level of work that you have to do as a principal in a lot of cases, it takes away a lot of your passion in a lot of ways because it's a lot of dealing with things that aren't kids. And so I wanted to get to something I was passionate about again. And so what I had started was a little podcast called Classic Conversations. And so I was just sitting down with like my barber. I sat down with the consultant. I sat down with just different people, and we would just sit down and have conversations about just different things because I just wanted to do the video editing equipment, all those things. I was seeing all these videos. I'm like, oh, I want to just do that. I was wanting to be like a YouTuber at that point, right? So I wanted to create my own thing. Then I even had started something called some people had asked me some questions about it. So I was like, I'll teach you how to do a podcast. I'll teach you how to do equipment and stuff. So I had
Hmm.
started a business called Podcast Caddy, where I was helping people and I was doing classes and teaching them. Those were my first workshops. So the first workshops that I ever did, I was going to this place called Dallas Makerspace. I was getting a room and getting on Eventbrite, having people sign up to be able to take my classes and teach them for an hour, about an hour and a half, 2 hours about how to start podcasts and all those different things. I then got someone reached out to me from the Dallas Entrepreneurial Center, and they wanted me to come do the classes there and different things. And so I was doing those things on the side. And so I had established my LLC for that business in January of 2017. How I became a consultant was the person that was a consultant that was working with our campus and the other campus. There was a day where the person in the district that we were kind of essentially somewhat partnered with Dallas ISD, he reached out to me one day. I had a kid underneath a portable that crawl. It was like a first grader or something that crawled underneath a portable, and I was having to go in and get the kid out, right?
Sounds like a
And he
Tuesday. Like,
Right. Right. And so he had texted me and was like, "Hey, you want my job?" That text literally came at that time. That answer was yes. Like,
right.
absolutely, right? At this moment, of course I want your job. I don't want to go underneath this portable, right? So I ended up going and meeting with him and his boss, and the meeting didn't go as expected. They were just weren't on the same page. So then I reached out to the consultant, like, "Hey, do you know what's going on here?" He realized that I was open minded to leaving being a principal.
Mhm.
So he sold me on coming to work with him. And so by doing that, he didn't hire you as an employee, he hired you as an independent contractor. So I had already had my LLC set up. So he was able to seamlessly get me and pay me through that particular piece. And so that's literally how I became a consultant, was that it was more so the consultant that we were working with saw the things we were doing. He used to point people to our campus to say, "Hey, this," I mean, it was a selling point. "I can help you do this." And so that's what essentially what he was using us to be able to, which I would do the same thing. And so or have done the same thing. It's like, "Hey, look at the work I've done here. I could do this for you too." So he was pretty much saying that. And at that point, and I think he was also he was technically just getting started out then as well. So it was one of those things where he had a place they could point to, and it was kind of something that was bubbling in the Dallas area. And
Mhm.
so there were very few places for people to be able to go. And so people were just coming to our campus to be able to see. And I saw the people coming to the campus. I saw that as as a check and balance for our campus, to where if we're saying, "Hey, you're supposed to circle at this time," and you're supposed to, or we're having this particular PD, we're gonna have people from this district coming or that district coming. It kind of made people go, "Oh, we're gonna be on our best behavior," or "We're gonna execute because we want to," people want to be able to brag and shine and do all those different things, right? So
Right.
we kind of use that to our advantage there. But that's how I actually got into consulting, was that particular path right there. Like, it was kind of those things. And the reason I bring up the communications part going back to college, it was because now so I had the LLC set up for him.
Mhm.
So he was able to pay. But now when it came down to, okay, now I'm branching off and doing my own business, everything was already set up. But the more important thing as to how I was able to get started was that my cost of entry was lower than most people's cost of entry will be, because a lot of the things that people would have to outsource to other people, I was able to do all myself. So like the recording of my training, any video you see of me, I recorded it and I
Mhm.
edited. So essentially, like, that right there is something that I've never had to pay somebody else to do. So I have a lot of video out, but
Mhm.
all that was done by me, and therefore that was no cost to have to do it. So anytime, like these videos that we're doing now, I'm gonna edit them, I'm gonna get them out there, and all those different
Mhm.
things. So that's not a cost. The only thing I'm paying for is the platform we're using. So that is something that the average person just won't have.
Right.
And so the way that my business actually was able to grow, and I actually got my first work. So I was still going back. I was still trying. When I was working with him, my thought process was, I'm just going to get work through him or his company, and they'll just assign me work when they need to assign me work, and I'm going to do this podcast caddy thing on the side, because that's really what I want to go. I really kind of just truly enjoy that, because this consulting thing is not doing that. And I kind of was like, even kind of like, do I really still want to deal with education at this point in the same
Yeah.
way. I don't mind teaching like this because I enjoy teaching, but I kind of, when you start dealing with adults and less than kids, it does change your frame of reference when it comes to how you see the industry at that point, because
Mhm.
adults just make it a business and more than anything else. So I liked having that as my getaway, and when it comes to that.